today is that there are a lot of brands which have a global positioning and they try to find the relevant India story. That's one part of the thought that I had. And there was another article that I read about culture and cultural appropriation. And I was wondering if I could blend these thoughts together in my Thoughtful Thursday and make sense out of it. So this conversation happened yesterday in a meeting, and this is a person who has worked on Mountain Dew. And he was talking about the global positioning. Of course, global positioning is in line with what would have happened in US. And it was about, if you've done this and you've done this, now you need to do this thing. But what I translated in my mind is that how does this become relevant to the Indian context? If you remember the Mountain Dew line, "Dar ke aage jeet hai." Now, how did that come about? Indians and adventure sports are two ends of the pole. How do you get an entire nation to do something and at least move from passive to active? For example, if I had to think about it, how do I get someone out of their comfort zone to try out something different? So if you look at the Mountain Dew, the early communication was about somebody jumping, somebody doing some daredevil acts. And what I liked about this story was, when he was telling me, was the manifestation of the thought. So I can show somebody doing these stunts and just jumping off, and me saying, that's for me. Or actually what they did was, when they got that feedback, they said, no, I can't do that, but let me tone that down a bit. The moment they did that, it became acceptable. Of course it was impossible, but this is something I can do. And that is what they managed to do with the Mountain Dew communication, that dar ke aage jeet hai ka matlab hai, try something. It might be impossible. You will tell yourself, you will try and talk yourself out of it, but it is still doable. Now that made immenent sense to me, because we all go through this fear. We all go through this, no. Somebody else can do it, but I can't do it. And how can you change this narrative, which is a global positioning, and bring it to the Indian context and make it relevant? And that is why I said that if I can blend two thoughts, a global positioning and take something called cultural appropriation. Now, what is cultural appropriation means that, is this relevant to this culture? Are you taking an aspect of some culture and bringing it down over here, and it doesn't make sense? Because we haven't taken the trouble and thought to think about every aspect of that. And I'll give you another one which is important for me, is that when we choose our celebrities, how do we choose them? Do we choose them because he did well in the box office today? Or do we put some thinking and science behind it? Is he good for my brand? Does he have the right speaking voice? Will he manifest that thought and the brand and the product promise? Now these are worth thinking about. And these aspects really create successful campaigns, successful brands, because there's a lot of thought that is given right from the consumer insight to what is the emotion, how is it going to get manifested, how is it going to get dramatized, who's the person who's going to be the voice of that. I just want to remove the word celebrity. Who's going to be the voice of this particular thought? And that's what I want to leave you behind with. Think about it when you're doing any kind of cultural appropriation. If you're taking something from somewhere else, give it enough thought, enough thinking, as I always like to use, arm wrestle about it, agonize about it. This will hold you in good stead. If you like what I say and you want to know more, reach out to me.